Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Secretary. I represent 11 counties across rural upstate New York, and when I'm on the community, I always ask folks about the conversations they're having at their kitchen table. And I know around here, this idea of kitchen table issues, it's become kind of a political cliche. For me, it means something real. When I was growing up, my parents would literally sit at the kitchen table every week to balance the budget. And the way they would do it is they had these envelopes, and they would write on the envelope, mortgage or utilities or school clothes. If there was something left over, my favorite envelope was for the Binghamton Whalers tickets. And I remember those conversations getting a lot harder when the factory was closing down where my dad worked, and it was a bunch of big corporations and out-of-touch politicians from both political parties got us into terrible trade deals that shipped jobs overseas. And you could literally see with those envelopes at the kitchen table the sacrifices that my family was making every week to make sure my sister and me could go to school. So I ask folks at home about those conversations because I want to hear what they're talking about at the kitchen table. And you know what they tell me now over and over again? They can't afford the utility bills. They cannot afford the utility bills. They're stretched past the breaking point, making impossible choices between groceries and medicine and rent. And then the utility bill hits the table. And now, today, they're making tough decisions about whether they can even go on the summer vacation they had planned with gas prices as high as they are. So when I got here last year, first thing I did was launched an investigation into the utility companies to try to get to the bottom of why these bills are so high. And there's a lot of reasons for it, and I know you've discussed some of those today. But one of the most alarming things I found is that each of the three major utility companies serving upstate New York is owned by a foreign corporation. And so my question for you is, why in the world is the United States federal government allowing foreign corporations to own American utility companies?
Yeah, certainly not my area of expertise or regulation there. We do like to see, free flow of capital, at least among our allies and friends. I don't know which.
Well, that just sounds like the same old tired arguments we've had for 30 years about the benefits of globalization that I know the elite economists and the out-of-touch politicians and big corporations want to shove down our throats because it makes them more profitable. In communities like upstate New York, that has hurt with the working class. And when we see our utility bills hit the table every week and then see a bunch of that money being shipped overseas, it's the same old story of greed and corruption that we've dealt with for decades. We should not, upstate New Yorkers should not be forced to shell out money every month to the utility company and see it shipped to a foreign corporation overseas. Central Hudson is one of the utility companies in our district. They're owned by Fortis, a foreign corporation. Last year, Fortis reported $331 million in quarterly profits, and you know what they did the very next day? They turned around and demanded another rate hike of $20 to $30 a month for upstate New Yorkers. NYSEG, owned by Iberdrola, Spanish corporation. Last February, NYSEG shipped a $450 million dividend to Spain, turned around 6 months later and asked us for a $500 million rate hike to foot the bill for it. These are seniors on fixed incomes who are literally cutting their medicine in half. Public school teachers I've talked to who are picking up second jobs because of the NYSEG bill. There was a I'll never forget this conversation. A woman in the union whose husband had worked his entire life, finally got to retirement and wanted nothing else but to spend his time with his grandkids. He worked his whole life to earn that time with his grandkids. And you know what he's doing right now? He had to go get another job to pay the NYSEG bill, and that money he's putting out every month is going to a corporate boardroom in Spain, to a bunch of people sitting in a boardroom in Madrid, taking money out of the pockets of folks in Oneonta and Whitney Point. This has got to stop. This corporate greed and money going out of my community to these boardrooms halfway around the world, it's got to stop. You actually do have authority over this. You oversee FERC, correct?
It's an independent regulatory body.
It's an independent regulatory body, but you have multiple times during your tenure used your authority under the DOE Organization Act to require FERC to propose new rules, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
that's correct.
You have that authority, and you can use it to get FERC to issue regulations to stop foreign corporations from owning American utility companies. My time's expiring, but my question for you is this. Will you commit to look into this issue and using your authority to get foreign corporations to stop owning American utility companies?
I will look into that issue.
Okay, thank you.